what topic we're going to do, but because these Zoom meetings, they are a lot more streamlined because we don't have a lot of time on them. So what we decided to do was kind of portion them off into different topics, and that way we can go ahead and align and get a little bit more fine-tuned with certain topics and stay within a good timeline. So a lot of people who already have Dotloop, this is what your home screen might look like. When you go to your profile, this is my training profile. It's not my real estate profile. But up here, you have your global navigation. So this right here might show, this will show your sales if your loops are done correctly and saved correctly. This right here is going to be your loops. Some people can go over here. I like to use list view right here, and that way, I mean, on mine you see all my addresses, but this right here, it only has a couple loops because I don't normally go in this account. And then there's a compact view where they are like that. That's kind of a new thing. So let's go ahead and show you guys how to navigate through here and set up a listing loop and be able to share it and make it visible. The benefit that I think more than anything else, and I don't always do it myself, but the benefit that I see in it is when you're in a hurry. I don't know about lately, you guys have, I don't know if you have, but I sure have. I've been on my way to a listing to show it, and I get a centralized service call me telling me that that house is now off the market. So this is one of those things where if you already have your stuff together, then things can be a little bit faster, and maybe we could, if we all kind of did this, we might be able to be a lot more efficient and be the first one for our situation when we're in such a fast-paced market that we are in right now. So what we have here are, we have templates. I don't have my templates really set up on this account. I'm not going over templates today anyway. Templates, a lot of times, most of you who have Dotloop have a company that already has your templates in there. It has all of your North Carolina forms and your JBOR forms. And most of you have an admin person who has already set them up and had your forms ready in the signature form. And then all you have to do is go to your people here. You could add people. This is for service providers. We're not going to do that today, but contacts right here. These are different clients that you would have, and you would add them to your loop, or you would add them while you're in a loop to use it as signatures. What I love about Dotloop, first of all, is you have everything collectively rather than 4 or 5 different places to go. So you have your contact management, you have your folder system, which is your Dotloop, and in turn you have a storage facility to make sure that you have your inventory, and if you ever need anything, all of your transactions, or if you're going remotely, everything is all in one spot. And you have a really good, Dotloop is great for your clients as well because they get to have it for 7 years. So if they move and say, darn it, where did that home warranty brochure go? All they have to do is log into their account, print out a new one, and they don't have to worry about sifting through their boxes. So as a listing agent, it's a really good opportunity to tell them, hey, you know, I pay just a little bit extra so that I can offer this cool service to you. even after you're gone. And so just wanted to go overview with about the benefits of really what Dotloop is. It's a great platform. You can also, there's a couple other things. I don't use the service providers, but you know, a lot of people would, because it's really convenient. They always use the same people all the time. I don't always use put all of my eggs in one basket, so I don't do that part. Tasks right here. This is another one. Now it depends on the company that you're with. When I was at Berkshire Hathaway, they have an excellent task list that it's just automatically goes with every single loop that you set up, and then you know, it's just automatic. At this company, we do where I'm at now, they do it a little bit different. Everybody's different. Every company's different. Your firm might or might not, but the cool thing about it is if you have the ability to create your own tasks, this is super good with your time management. Time management is so important for realtors. This is the #1 problem that we have in our whether we're going to be successful or not. So we can add personal tasks, and we just go here and we start plugging away. We can say working with real estate agents brochure, and then we can do listing agreement, just our regular checklist, okay? And then just knock them out as you're going, okay? And then so what else do we need? We need the disclosure. We need the MOG. We need, you know, just the different things that we need. These are just the different things that we need in our loop that you want to have in there, right? Okay, so all these different things, we're gonna have that, and we're gonna go ahead and save that, and we're gonna put that to our loop. We're gonna go ahead and start making a loop. To add a loop as a listing, we're gonna set something up, and I'm just gonna make up a what's really cool is that while you're typing these, you see how they auto populate, and that's what I'm going to get into a little bit later, because when you're the buyer's agent, you should just be able to type it in, and if the listing agent has done their job, all of those forms should be available in there. So I'm going to list a property. It's already listed, so I don't know if this is going to work. I'm just going to use one of mine. See, if I was a buyer's agent, you see that we already see it in there. I'm going to use the Google Maps there. So here we're going to see what template we're going to use. Your agency should be able to have this in there, and when you click on that, they will auto populate in there. If you want to upload a photo of your house, you can do that right there. It's pretty. I use the list view, but if you use the grid view for your loops, then it might be cool. So here it's important that you're going to write, this is where you pick what topic. Are you going to list it for sale? Are you leasing it? Is it a buyer? So we're doing a listing. Okay, and so status is where you're at this point in the listing. Is it a pre-listing? Is it an active listing? Is it under contract? Whatever point it is where you're at right here is what you're going to put there. And then you're going to enter your price of how much you're going to list it for. Go to View Loop. These are documents right here that automatically I have already planned, but if you want to add your own documents, you can absolutely do that. So you have a listing folder, and you want to make an offer folder. Now I'm going to just hide these so in an effort to make things a little bit easier. So we're gonna do a new folder, right? So if we're starting a new listing, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a listing folder. And we're going to browse, or you can either browse and go into your computer and get the documents, which I have I've done today. It's really kind of cool because I've got the floor plan, I've got some covenants, whatever documents you want to bring on, you would just grab them here. And you could shift and hold that down, and then just open it. But chances are your company has templates already made. Now I don't have templates set up in this account, this training account, but I have. I saved them. That's why I saved them on here. But that's where you would get them, is if you would add document, your templates would be all the JBOR forms. And when you sign up for Dotloop with your company, it'll be there. So that's where normally it would be for your forms. But for your covenants or your deeds or anything like that, your plat map, things that you bring in as a PDF, you're going to browse and get them from your computer. And there's another button here. It's email. So basically, if you're like on the fly, and what you would do is you would grab this, you would copy it, and then say you were on your iPad and you wanted to grab a PDF. You would grab that PDF and copy this, okay? And so you would send it on in an email, and this would be in the to where it's being sent to, and send it, and it'll go directly here. So here we have a bunch of different forms that we use when and I'm not here to teach a class on how to do your forms or the right way to write an offer or write a listing agreement. I'm just here. See how I'm going ahead and I'm putting them in order. We can do that. Oh, what happened there? So we can put these in order how we want them. Whatever, we can rearrange them. And so that's the listing folder, okay? Now, if we wanted to modify a form so that we can send them out to our sellers, I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go over how to set this up so that a buyer agent can recognize your listing in Dotloop, so it could make it easier on them. And what's really cool is being able to show them that your associated docs, rather than them go over there, you're going to give them to them right now. Okay, so we're going to label this as a offer folder. Okay. And if I have to go to my other account because this training account isn't working, then I will. But right now, it just seems to be less busy than my account. So I wanted to do that to avoid confusion for everybody today. So this is an offer folder. This folder here is what we're gonna send out to the buyer agents after we have our signed disclosures and things like that. We don't even have to send them out. We will have the ability to either send them out, or they can just search for the listing and it'll auto-populate for them. So it's really a cool feature that I wanted to talk about today on this class. So we're gonna hold that right there for a second, okay? But right now, we're talking about our sellers. So here we have all of a good start on our listing, right? So if we wanted to fill them out, a lot of people do it different ways, okay? There's 2 different ways to do it. There are 3 different ways, actually. You can either open it up. Here's the standard working with real estate agents, and most of us have this already pre-done in by their company, but this one is not. I saved it as a PDF, and I wanted to use it as an example so that if you guys ever want to see how I have right here, it's already pre-done. If there's something that your company missed and that you want to have yours customized, save it as a PDF, upload it, and keep it. Make yourself your own folder in templates, and that way you can have your own customized forms. Okay, a lot of people are like, "Wow, it's great that it auto populates," but the one on my company where I have to fill in my company address every single time. There's a way you can fix that. You just save it and set it up yourself and have your own little folder. And it'll save you so much time if you just take a couple hours and set yourself up for the future. That way you don't have to worry about filling everything in. It'll all just auto-fill, okay? So here, what I'm gonna do is, and I'm gonna show you how to do that, okay? So I can we're gonna add a text here. And as I go, I'm going to show you these little features, okay? So you see how I just added it? It's a little short box here. We can either drag it and make it big like that, however we want it, or we can be a little anal because I want it on that line, right? I want it on that line. I don't, whoa, look, it's too big. Okay, so if we want to do that, you just hit the shift, put your finger on the shift key, and use your arrow keys. You see how I can move these around like that? It's really cool for people who are anal retentant. And click on it so you're selected. If you want it longer, you need more room, push your shift key, and there you go. So you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of doing this and trying to. It's just quicker sometimes if you just shift and then click however long you want it to be. All right. So here we're going to put whoever we want, and then we're going to have our signature. Signature here. We don't sign this. So if you want to do, what we're going to do is establish this as a template so that every single time we write a contract, we have this form. Like I said, a lot of you already have, your company has already done this for you. This is for things that are missed, or if you want it customized a certain way, if you write your forms a certain way, and as long as you're compliant, with your company, and it doesn't cause any problems. This is why I'm showing you this. So what you would do is see where it says assign to. There's two different ways to do this. If you're doing it just for this transaction, you would say add person, and that's when you would add somebody. Well, that's the agent. Okay, so that's this person is going to be the seller. So we've got to make sure that we list them as the seller, okay? And it opens up a thing, and you can add all their information. But really, as long as you have a name and their email address and assigned their role, you're good, okay? And another way you could do it, see how it's assigned to Dorothy Gill? You would assign it as a role. So role is going to be seller. Okay. See, I can't do anything because I've assigned it to the seller. So we don't want that. We want it assigned to no one. So and her signature, we can do role, seller, so she can only sign, or we can just assign it to Dorothy Gale. Okay. And then we can put in a date here. I know this is kind of boring. I'm trying to make it fun, but it can't be fun because it's Dotloop. All right. So there you have that. Finish filling this out. If you already have it, then you don't have to fill it out every single time. It's awesome, right? So I don't want to share it yet. You don't want to share it until all your stuff is ready, okay? Okay, so here is my exclusive right to sell listing agreement. I have no idea what it looks like right now. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've cheated a little bit, and I created one that's already kind of filled out, and if I got to change it, I can change it, but it's pretty basic. And what we would do is I would grab this text. I'm showing you guys how to modify PDF documents within this system. Set up your listing, okay? And then if you customize it to yourself, you won't ever have, a lot of companies, like I said, a lot of companies already do this for you. But every once in a while, I get somebody call me up and says, how come it doesn't auto-populate with everything? Well, something on there in your admin department, they want you to go through your forms, which is a healthy thing for a broker to actually do their own forms. But but sometimes when the market is really fast-paced the way it has been lately, it's super convenient to have your stuff ready to go. So here, what I have here is the listing agreement. And then we're going to add the address. Okay, we're going to fill out, I'm not here to show you guys how to fill out the listing agreement, okay? But a lot of this is already done for you because you've got this with your brokerage, okay? But this is if you have, you want to set it up to where you're creating a template, and you and let me just finish, because I think that once you see what I'm about to do, it'll save you a lot of time. And you'll actually appreciate it a little bit. So I'm just going to do like this one page, guys, okay? Because we don't have a lot of time. Okay. And so we're going to I'm just going to make up some stuff because I don't know this stuff by heart. This particular property. I'm just kind of giving you a sample, so please don't like record me and take me to court over this. Subdivision. It's over there. It's over there in what you call it, by Cole's Farm, but it's not Cole's Farm, so don't tell anybody. My nails. All right, so remember, this is, please don't look at this, like as far as the information. I'm just making crap up here. You see how, somebody can probably get super frustrated with the way I'm doing this, because it's like how, I don't like that. It's overlapping and whatever. So remember, all we got to do is move this around and we could shift and make sure it's all perfect. Okay. So we don't have to worry about taking time and doing all this when all we have to do is move it with our little thingies. Okay. So that's something that's super convenient. We're gonna add, but once we set all this up, guys, you're gonna be like home free. Okay. So I'm gonna add initials here because that's for me. I'm only gonna do one seller because I just want to give you just a sample. Okay. All right. So, okay, we know going through the whole thing. So I'm gonna save it. All right, and I did all that to say I'm kind of all over the place, but try to follow me, okay? So here, this is my exclusive right to sell listing agreement. I can take this and I can make a copy. And you see this? To templates or to loop. Send it over to templates. You're going to create a folder. You're going to create a folder. You're going to say, if your name was Bubba, you would write Bubba listing templates. So I'm just going to go MH listing forms. That's a folder that I have in my templates. Okay. So that's one form that's in my templates. Here's another one. I'm going to put that. Oops, sorry. I can either do it this way. That's what I did. Make a copy, or I can check it and go up here, make a copy. I'm going to put it to templates, and I'm going to select that folder, copy it right in there. And this is only on the redundant forms that you use all the time in your listing agreements. Okay. And that way, when you got to write a listing agreement on the fly, you're going to have it done in like 10 minutes. And that's the number one thing that we have issues with, guys, is just our time management. Okay. And so these are not set up. So what I'm going to do, see, this is another feature. I checked all three. You can open all three all at one time. Save yourself some time. And look, I've got them all open. Okay. So this is the form that every class that I ever teach, everybody asks me, how do I do it? All right. So a lot of times this is already pre-populated, just like I was telling you guys. Okay. So I'm going to shift. I'm going to open that way up, and I'm going to shift. I'm going to use my my arrow key so it's perfect, because that's how I like it. We don't want any overlapped fields. All right, so typing today. All right, we're going to add. Another thing we could do, watch this. I'm going to add a text. I'm going to put my finger on the shift key. Watch this. Take it off and you got another text. Okay? And you could do that forever and ever and ever if you want to. I don't really need to, because I only have one seller in this particular situation. I'm using Dorothy Gale, which is Toto's mama. All right, and then I would add a signature, and I can make that smaller too, and either drag it or, so I'm gonna assign this, and we're gonna assign it as a role, because later on, if we use this as a template, remember, it's gonna be for the seller. Okay. All right, I'm only, this right here, this is the wrong form that I downloaded, but so if we want to do a checkbox, this is what we want to do. We create a checkbox and we don't have to fill this form out. We're not supposed to fill this form out for our clients, guys. And I see lots of people doing it. I'm not going to say whether I do it or not, but we're not supposed to, okay? And so only the sellers are supposed to do this. And so I'm going to show you how to set this up right now, so that, because we guide them through it or whatever, and that's fine. We can ask them questions and help them, but they have got to be the ones to fill out this form. And I'm not here to preach about how to fill out our forms or rules or anything like that, but this is one form that I will show you how to fill out in Dotloop, or how to have the sellers fill out for themselves. This is very, very key and very important. You got to do this on your own, guys. Download yourself a copy of a PDF of this form and upload it into your Dotloop. And you got to go through this, and you only have to do it one time. If you save it as a template, then you're home free. Okay, this is really important that you do this for your own personal time management later on. It's like a gift to your future self. Okay, so we're going to go through this, and we're going to create all these little boxes where all these boxes are. Okay, and the way that I'm doing it, so that I don't have to go up, create a box, go up, create a box. No, I've got my finger on the shift key. Okay, my finger's on the shift key, and I just I bring it to where I want it, and I click it again, and I just keep my finger on the shift key, and I'm able to save a bunch of time and just keep on adding these boxes. Okay, I'm adding these boxes because I don't know what he wants to answer. I want him to answer, or Dorothy, the seller, to answer to the best of their ability, like we ask them to do, these questions. And we tell them, okay, any attorney is going to tell you no representation. But we really want to tell them to answer these to the best of their ability, because how many people just get so frustrated when you go to write an offer and these things are just not filled out. I always leave number 26 for our area, possible military noise. Use your own verbiage if you want to, but I always put 26, and I tell my seller that's the only one that I really, advise and put in there, because it's bit me in the back before. So anything that has caused you to have some kind of standard that you just have to explain it to your seller. This is why we do that here. It doesn't happen everywhere, but it's a sound of freedom here. Okay, so you guys get the idea, right? So now I'm going to show you how to group these so that they can fill out their own form, and it's not you filling out the form, or they don't have to print it out and sign it and scan it back, okay? So, and then, of course, again, here, text, what year it was constructed. You probably already know the year. You could probably do that for them. But over here, if it's a heat pump or something, they need to answer that themselves. How many years old? Make sure you are putting in the blanks so that they can answer these questions. There's just nothing more frustrating than having a buyer's agent. You just really want to facilitate things the best way that you possibly can so that everything is done. This has got to be filled out here. You guys know that, but for sake of time, I'm going to show you how to group these. So in other words, right now, she could click on it if she wants, but if she clicks on it, she'll have two. We don't want them to do that. Okay, so we can do that. Oh, I messed up. But this is really where I just screwed up. I was supposed to show you radio buttons. So back it up, guys. See this radio button? It's the same exact thing as a check box, except they come in little buttons. They look like a little circle, okay? I really meant to put those in there, not the boxes. Okay, so here we have these little radio buttons. You push your shift key and drag and select all three of those. Why is that doing that? And now they're grouped. You see that? They can only do one. Whereas if it's a box, they can do all three. That's the difference between a box and a radio button. Does that make sense? So once you have radio buttoned all of these, or boxed, whatever your preference is, okay, and you have your form set up exactly the way you want it to be set up, you want to save it. You don't share it. Mineral oil and gas rights. As you can see, I already have one pre-filled out, okay? Because it's very rare that they're going to be something else, right? So it just saves me some time. So that's how I do it. But if it's changed, you have to still ask your clients, you know, hey, do I need to change these? Go over this with them. And if it's not, again, if these people are not local, give them radio buttons right here. Okay. Put the radio buttons on there, and if you're going to send this to them via email, they're going to have to make a choice and answer it for themselves. Okay. And then here you would add, add initials. Initial, watch this. I put my finger on the shift key. Shift, 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 shift. See how fast it is? See how fast it is to do that? If we do that, I'll show you something even faster. Somebody take themselves off mute. You can do it that way, or you can do it this way. I assigned it to the person, and I'm going to grab it. You see that? I'm going to do Shift, Command C, and then Shift, Command V. Keep my finger on Shift, okay? Keep my finger on Shift and watch the magic. Ready? Bum, 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 bum. Now, all of these are already assigned, okay? How many people just got like a revelation or woo? Okay, so here, this is, if you're paying attention, this is actually good stuff. So now over here, what do? We grab all three of these and we're going to group them. Boom. Now we've got to go here. Going to grab these two. We've got to group them. Going to grab these and we're going to group them. We're going to grab these, and this way your sellers are going to be able to answer these forms. And you need to take some time and do this for yourself once and save these in your template folder, okay? And again, you're going to fill the whole thing out, okay? I'm just giving you, I'm partially filling these out for sake of time right now. All right, so we're going to go back. We're not sharing. So now we're back at our station here. So I already put these in the template folder, and okay, so we don't have to make a template folder every single time, guys. I'm showing you how to do this one time. All right, so I'm gonna grab, okay, there's one more form. Let's go through this one. And this is the lovely one that we love to do too. Okay, so we're gonna put text here. Shift, drag it out. We're gonna go text here, right? Or watch this. Add a text box. Shift, and we got two right there. And then what do? We click on this one. If you want to change your company, change your name, do whatever. If you've got a CPA that you want, this is something that I already did. You see that? Okay, so we're gonna go like this. Boom. Grab that. Boom. Some people, they want to make sure everything's straight. So, or you could just leave it like that. Fill this out. This is who I use. Okay, don't steal my people now. But this is how I would typically have this filled out. And then, oh man, this is such a pain, but watch. We have to add all these initials, because one time I did the radio button and that was not cool. I wasn't allowed to do that. My paperwork gurus downstairs got me for that one. So I had to go back. So we have to add these initials, but you know what? I'm doing it wrong. You can add all those initials if you want to. Go up and assign, go up and assign, right? You can go up and assign, go up and assign, go up and assign. You know how, see how much time this is? Or you can simply grab Shift, Command C, Shift, Command V. Hold the space. Hold the shift. Hold the shift. Shift, 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 Shift. Oops, overlapping. We don't want that. Shift, 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 Shift. I'm doing Shift and click. Okay? I'm holding down the Shift and I'm clicking. And that way, I do not have to spend all that rigmarole assigning. And whenever you're done, the last time, you're either going to have this one, because I kept my finger on Shift, or just get rid of that last one. Here's a signature spot. We're going to put the seller, or remember, roll seller. Okay. I'm going to add initials, roll. Of course, we're going to do just me, but if you have a team, okay, then you're going to go roll, and you're going to do listing agent, whoever that is. Okay. I wanted to go over this because a lot of people were asking me about how to do professional services, and they always ask me about the residential property disclosure, and it is just, it's time consuming. That's all, right? So now we have our little forms, and I could go through all the different forms that you need and blah, 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 but I'm not. This is not a class for that. We're just getting a couple of these important ones, and we want to make a copy. Oops, sorry, I already have a copy of these two. So we're going to make a copy of these other ones while we're thinking about it. Okay, again, we're only doing this part one time. We're going to put these into the listing forms. Okay, so after this, and I don't mean to cause confusion, guys, your templates, we go back up to this global navigation. Okay, we have reporting, your loops, your tasks, your people, and your templates. Okay, so if we're starting all over, if you're starting a new loop, okay, your new loop is going to be you just keep typing until you find the auto-populate, okay? And then continue. And we're going to do a listing. Okay, I'll find a photo just for giggles. Let me see if I have a photo. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. So we got, there's the picture. If you want to do that, get all fancy, there you go. That's how you do that. So here we go. We're going to do listing for sale, status, it's not active yet. We're just going to put that, and we're going to do the price of what we're going to have our listing price. If you don't know it, then just leave it blank and you can fix it later. Okay. All right, so this one right here, for some reason, it's automatically doing this. So I'm going to get rid of these folders. So what I want to do is show you guys how to make your listing visible to somebody. So remember, when we're setting up our listing, we're going to name two folders immediately. We're going to have listing folder, all right? And we're going to add offer folder. Oops. I'm getting somewhere with this, I promise, okay? Bear with me, guys. I can't see you, but you probably think I'm a crazy person. So at this point, remember, we already have templates, right? We just created them. So all I have to do is go, look at this. I've got listing forms. And all I have to do is put in, click those, and we have our listing forms exactly how we want them, okay? But what you could do is you go to your templates. I'm sorry, before we added those templates, you go back. Once you set them up, I want you to go back and fine tune them, okay? Remember how when we first set them up the first time, I put that chick's name in there? So instead of her name, delete her name, and we're going to label the field. Labeling the field is you've got to be very, very careful, because you've got all these things, these subjects, folders of who we're talking about. Like, say, if we're talking about the seller, make sure the buttons that you click are under seller. See, because it's easy to confuse it. Here you have seller's attorney. So go back to seller. And so it's going to be her name. That's labeled as seller name. Apply. Okay, so if there is a husband involved, or a spouse, just simply make make another spot here. Okay, set up your templates. I did them that way because sometimes when we're just running, if you get a really good, clean contract and you really like the way you did it, save it as a template and then just fine tune it when you're done. Okay, and that way you have it as a template, right? And you assign those spots. For example, you don't have to have anything here. What you're going to do, instead of assigning it to somebody, you're going to put a label on it. Oops. We're going to label that field, and it's going to be we're going to property address. So we're going to do full address, apply. So it's already done, right? And then we're going to label this, not assign it. Now we're in the template section right now. We're going to assign it to seller. Seller name. And we'll have seller 1, apply. And if there's 2, then you make another space and do seller 2. Does that make sense? All right, so here we're going to assign the field as the role, remember? And whoever the role is going to be, then all of these will be same thing. you just do the same thing. And then instead of having to go back and assign them as a role, you would just simply Shift Control V, boom, 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 so that they're all assigned as the seller. Does that make sense? So there you have your, that's how you set up, and I'm not going through and doing all of it, but that is how you set up your templates. It's very important because once you go back to your loop, right? I'm gonna add those that I just did. Okay. Whatever forms that I want to do. But this one I just did modify. So I don't have a seller, right? So I got to add a person. So I'm going to go so there he is. See, it still has her name. So because this was a template, I would have to go back and go to the templates and assign this as a role. So that should have said Scaredy Crow as my seller. And this would be, it is assigned as the seller. See, Scaredy Crow. Okay, and then we make sure that, see how it says assigned to no one? You could do two things here. You could do assigned to anyone. Okay, so if you have a husband and wife, and rather than just assigning it to one and not the other, because sometimes the wife will go in there and change it and it'll wipe out all the signatures, just let them have, just, it doesn't matter, you know, who's filling them out, as long as anyone can fill this out, as long as we have both signatures down here. I would assign those radio buttons as anyone, okay, rather than someone on this particular form. That will make your life worth living after you do that for yourself, okay? All right, so what we do is we have all of our oops, you know what, I messed up. I put them in the offer folder. So we're gonna put it in the listing folder. Sorry guys, wish I had some coffee. Where has that offer folder? Here's what you've been waiting for. So what you can do is one of two things. Now, I have already filled out the residential property disclosure. I've already filled all these out, sent it to the seller, and we're going to pretend that the seller already signed them, okay? Just for sake of time, pretend that they already did that. And real quick, I'll show you how to do it. We got the seller. We're going to autofill that, and it's going to show, well, we didn't autofill it because I didn't save that as a template. So we go back in the templates and make sure that this is assigned as a role, a label, and not a person, so that the next time we do this, it's labeled and it's going to, it auto populates, it auto changes, okay? And so make sure this is all filled out to the best of your ability, okay? It's the wrong address, so. Okay, so So we filled the whole thing out, right? And we got all these assigned, add initials. Okay. And then pretend all this is assigned. Okay. And then we're going to save and go back. We don't share them, and I'll tell you why. When all of these are all filled out and you're ready, okay? When all of them are filled out, everything is assigned, then just click on all of them and then you share, okay? And it'll say more than 4 fields assigned, but for sake of time, you know I didn't assign all of the fields. And you always click that. It says attach PDF to email. And that gives them an opportunity to save it on their computer or print it out for their own records. So here's where, if you want to write a message, right? And then you can share it. Okay, so then they go back. See, it says waiting on others. They go back, you go back and they'll sign it. Pretend that this already says signed. When it's signed, it says signed. Okay, right now it says waiting on others. But when it is signed, what you're going to do is you're going to add the residential property owners, the MOG, and whatever else you want. So pretend that, okay, so floor plan, covenants, all your other stuff that you would have in your maybe associated docs or already in your loop, right? You want those things in your listing folder, but you're going to save the buyer agent some time by also having them in this offer folder. There's the covenants, there's the floor plan, there's a septic permit, there's a septic agreement, there's a plot plan. Oh, I did that. Oh, plat map, you know, all this stuff that you would normally put in the associated docs. I want you to put in what's called an offer folder that you can share with the buyer's agent rather than making them go look it up for themselves. Okay, so you're going to go offer folder, you're going to, and this, remember, this is already filled out and ready. This isn't waiting on others. This is pretending, we're pretending here that this is already signed. So we're going to go up here. See where it says set up easy offer? Listing agent is Melinda Hires. Make sure that you're on there, and the folder that you want to share, and you save that mug right there. So accessible via easy offer. So anybody can go in at this point and start typing in 108 Brookhaven Drive, Richlands, North Carolina. It's going to say listing for sale, and you're going to be able to pull all these things so that, and also it creates your folder, your loop for you. And if I wanted to even write an offer and have all the whole offer form filled out except for what they want to put in for a price and what they want to put in for EMD and a closing attorney and whoever the buyer agent is and all that stuff, you can do that. You can share it with them and do as much work for them as you want to, you know, have available for them. And it's just a really cool tool that you can use, that all they have to do is start typing that the address in the beginning of your of the loop, rather than having to take forever and ever and ever and it auto populates So it's really cool. That's one of those features that I wanted to share today on the listing side, to try to inspire you and get you to use this tool to help your relationship building with other agents that we have to work with. So I thought that would be really cool for you guys. And let me go ahead, because you're going to have these in both of them, and I don't want you to think that it does look a little bit repetitive, but you want to have all that stuff in both of your folders, except you're not going to share with them the listing agreement. You're not going to share. You guys know this, okay, right? Don't scare me. You guys will be able to discern what you want to share. That's not my business to tell you and what not to share. But this offer folder is what you're going to make available to the buyer agents whenever you have a listing available. Let me see. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Maybe I can. Anybody want to unmute themselves and ask a question? Okay, so I'm going to move on. I am. Okay, so after you have your listing, you went ahead and you have to go over here. We have tasks, okay? You want to add your task list. Remember that task list that we had earlier? You can start listing agreement, and you got your listing agreement, so you could check that off. You can go your deed. You got your deed on there. You got your professional services disclosure. And did you input it in the MLS? Did you do a lockbox? And lockbox. Did you put CSS instructions? Okay, these are all really cool. The task list is super good to help you to stay on task. Did you check the flood maps? Did you take a video? Did you measure the house? Did you input it in? Did you do a Facebook share? Did you put it on your website? Did you send out an email to all your friends and enemies about this new listing that you have for sale? Do you have a flyer box? Anything that you want to put on there. How about the WDIR? Anything you want to put on there for checklists, you're going to do that, and you're going to sign it. You're going to keep yourself accountable, and you're going to assign it to you can assign it to your assistant, or your transaction coordinator, or yourself, because any company who has an admin who does this for you, they make sure you stay on top of it. But if you don't have that, if it's all depends. It depends on what company you're with, but it's a really good habit to get into, to do that for yourself. Assign it, right? And just tell yourself, okay, these are all the due dates. You just assign yourself, and it'll give you reminders of what you need to do. And that way your transactions are flawless. Nobody has anything to complain about. You went through your task list and had everything done. But again, the task list is over, it's in your template over here. So you would have tasks, okay, and you would right here. Here's the buying checklist. So you would assign it, and rather than typing out each individual one every single time, you would just assign a list to your loop. Clauses. Let me tell you about clauses. I love clause because how many times do you sit there and type the same thing over and over, like your company name? How many people, especially when you have a long name like Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Hometown Realtors, or Coldwell Banker, Seacoast Advantage, or you know, some of these companies are, you know, are cool if you, but you got these long, huge names, and so you're just like, oh man, I write this thing down. Right. Okay. So, yeah. So anytime you all you have to do is start writing it, and it auto does it for you. So like, something I always will forget, like my company number, like, you know, when you're writing your contracts, I think it's that, right? So just leave it as a clause, because now all I have to do is remember it's a C, okay? Or my license number, and most of us don't have a problem with forgetting that. Or another thing, something that you forget, you don't really want to think about all the time, your fax number. Like, I don't want a fax number, you know. So it's I don't remember what it is. Um, I don't even know what it is. So anyway, so you'll start writing it. Okay, so how about this? Is somebody talking or just me? Right. Now, clauses are so cool because it'll save you a lot of time. You just type different things that you type all the, your address. Things that you type a lot. Okay, so then if that happens, you can go back to your loops. And if I am filling out a form, say, where's the, say I'm filling out a form and I just cannot remember what my fax number was, or if I just cannot remember what my company name was, or whatever. So a lot of times, see, I already did it like this and saved it as a PDF, because that's not going to change. And that way I don't have to remember it every time. See, that's you know, something you could do. And that, but then you got to set the whole thing up one time. But if I didn't have that on there, right, and I just forgot the number, all I'd ever have to do is remember, and there it is. All I had to do is remember the C, and it'll come up. Or, you know, pretend that wasn't there. And I just didn't want to spend the time typing out Coldwell Banker, Seacoast Advantage, you know. There it is right there. So that's what clauses is, okay? It's really, really a cool feature, because if sometimes we're in a hurry, it'll auto fill out your forms, okay? And so once you get done that that listing, and you get a buyer, your buyer comes in, they add a offer, they're going to either send it to you on in a PDF. Sometimes they send it to you in Dotloop, in their own folder, but make sure that you put it in a new folder when you get your new offer, okay? Because this offer folder you want to keep blank in case this offer falls through, okay? So you have executed contracts and all this, or don't even write offer one, because, and then what, or you can write offer one, or once it becomes a contract, you would write buyer, and then and that way that way you'll remember, like if this falls through, you can always archive it, and then you can have buyer two Smith, whatever. But you want to have each individual folder inside your loop, but you don't ever want to mix your offer folder that's going to be accessible via easy offer, because if this falls through, then you want these blanks so that the next agent can come in and write a snappy, super fast offer for you. And then you always have your listing folder separate again, so because we're required to have those as records, as well as things could change. If we need to put in a any kind of change, if that's, you want to have your listing folder. Nobody's allowed to see it. This is where it's basically your storage, and then you have your offer folder for everybody, and then you have your buyer folders when you go under contract. Okay, and this is where you would do your transactional stuff and share between you and your other agent. Okay, as far as I know, that is, I know I've gone over time. That is probably the best way I've lost a lot of you guys, show how to handle a transaction. I do have a flyer. If you will email me, melindahires@gmail.com. I have a little cheat sheet for those little tips and those little tricks that I was using. The little copy, control, copy, and shift control, command C and shift command B. You know, those little, there's more than just that. Those are just the ones that I shared today. I hope everybody got something out of this. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm here. Hello.
I don't have any questions showing up in the chat. If anybody has any questions, you guys can unmute and go ahead and ask those questions. This was recorded and it will be posted on our Education Hub later on today. Melinda, if you want to send me that cheat sheet, I'll put it with that on the hub so everybody has access to it. Does anybody have any questions?
Great class. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, well, thank you everybody for attending, and Melinda shared her email, so if you have questions, you can always reach out to her as well. And we will be doing the buy side of this process next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. So we'll see you all then.
Thank you.